console wars. Nintendo has their head up their ass. It doesn't look like they're going to get out anytime soon. Microsoft seems to be pulling their head out of their ass. And Sony seems to be kind of strutting at the moment. I worry that they might be a little too confident, but they have good reason to be. And with the PlayStation Now service that's getting started, they just keep hitting everything. They're knocking everything out of the park right now. So a lot of people are really excited about what they have to offer. So anyway, I'm into the Sony stuff anyway, so that's where I'm at. I used to have the Xbox. I mean, y'all know if y'all have watched anything I've done or listened to anything I've done, that's been the case. But recently I did buy another game console that debuted last year. And it reminded me a little bit of Hellraiser. I'm just going to pull this out and show it to you real quick. Alright. So this right here is a game console. Now, it's not necessarily a very good game console. It's not. This thing's not designed to compete with PlayStation 4 or Xbox One or even PlayStation 3 and Xbox 360. This is an Android-based game console. These things retail for about $100. You might be able to get it cheaper. And it's all Android-based. Plugs straight into your TV. You've got HDMI output. You've got an Ethernet jack, which you don't need because it has built-in Wi-Fi, so you don't need that. Then it's got a USB port, which you'll want to use because you'll want to get you a thumb drive and throw it in there. Which I got a 64 gig one at Fry's for like $25. So it's amazing how much cheaper those things are now. But yeah, I mean, your basic connections. The other thing it comes with is a game controller. The game controller, which is this thing, you can't, if you're listening to the podcast, obviously you're not going to be able to hear me. But the game controller is actually pretty good. It feels really good. It seems to be designed really well. It's just a really good little controller. The facing on it is metal. It's like, I don't know, aluminum, I guess. Let me show you something weird about it, though. Like I said, sorry if you can't see this, but the batteries, okay? Like all these other game controllers, the Xbox 360 has a battery compartment in the back. PlayStation 3 and PlayStation 4 have built-in batteries. You don't actually replace those batteries. You just charge them. This thing takes batteries, like regular AA batteries. But getting to them is weird. This is really weird. Watch this. I'm going to show you. Alright. See this? You actually pop the face off of the controller and put one battery in each side. The other side's the same thing. You pop it's held in magnetically, which is actually kind of cool. But strange. The Ouya. It's called the Ouya. Ouya. I talked about getting one a long time ago, and then I was like, why the hell would I want an Ouya? It's really weird. Why would I want an Ouya? Okay, well, there's not really a lot of reason to get an Ouya. Because, like I said, most of what it has is Android-based, and most of that is like Android games and apps and things like that. You can actually get on other Android phones or tablets, whatever, and they run better. They run better on other things. It doesn't have everything on the marketplace available. Like, for instance, in the Ouya marketplace, you can't get Netflix. There's a way to get Netflix, which I actually installed on mine tonight. They have this option called side loading, which is another reason you want to get this thumb drive so you can have a lot more memory to play with for different things. But basically what you do is you go online and download the Netflix app and then install it yourself. There's a way to do it. It's not difficult. I did it with a couple different things. I did a PlayStation emulator that way too. And that is primarily, emulators is primarily what I use the Ouya for. I use it for Super Nintendo, Nintendo Genesis TurboGrafx, Nintendo 64, which is kind of meh. It's always been kind of meh. Emulation on that is not that great. And then PlayStation. And the PlayStation emulator that they have on there on the marketplace is okay. There's another one that you can get, EPSXE, and you can side load, and it's basically perfect. So emulation is actually really good. The controller's designed really well for it. Responds really well. I don't have any lag issues. Some people talked about like early versions of the Ouya having lag issues or whatever. I don't have that. It works really well. So there's my little review. It's not too bad, but it's not very good. Ouya. It's a commercial. That should be their commercial. Okay, so enough with the video games. Let's move on to some other stuff. There was a news story that came out a couple days ago about these dolphins in Japan. Bottlenose dolphins. That the Japanese people, there's a group of Japanese people, have decided that they are going to imprison in the ocean in little netted-in areas, and they're going to corral them and starve them for a while and make them angry and prod them and decide which ones they think are tame and which ones are not as tame. And the tame ones they're going to try to sell to like SeaWorld. The rest of them they're going to slaughter. And they said they're going to eat, but they're not going to eat because the meat is actually toxic because it's dolphins from the South Pacific who are saturated with lethal levels of mercury, so they're not going to eat them. So dolphins, really, we're going to do this to dolphins. And what they had said was that they're going to hunt the dolphins, the ones that they don't want to sell off. They're going to hunt them. I guess they're going to turn them loose and hunt them, or let people hunt them. You know, like they have those little farms, little farm parks for the little city people who like to pretend like they're badasses. You know, where they like, yeah, come to my little farm park and you can hunt, a rhino or, a wild antelope or something. Now we don't it's technically illegal, and you shouldn't hunt anything like a lion or anything, but certainly we wouldn't do that. Douchebags. There's been some famous people that have done things like that I have been very disappointed because, I really like a lot of their stuff that they do, and then they do something like that, and you're like, God. Then you got your little nut jobs who are out there, and they're like promoting it like, there ain't nothing wrong with it. We can go out and I like to get in a cage and shoot a baby calf in the head. That kind of thing. People, they're proud, standing over their kill like they did something big, like they're big man. Look at me. I killed a defenseless animal. In what way are you a hunter if you kill a dolphin? I mean, how is that hunting? That's like, the dolphin is going to come to you. Dolphins are famous for helping people. Dolphins help ships, find their way. Dolphins play in the ocean, and talk, to each other, and like come up and are friendly and let you pet them, and they're fucking dolphins. I'm sorry, but you're going to hunt them. Like that's what I gotta hunt. I gotta kill me one of them. Yeah, he came up and he's smiling at me, and the only thing I could think about was putting a bullet between his head. Right there between the eyes. I'm telling you what, I'm gonna get him, I'm gonna cut off his head, I'm gonna stick it on the wall. That's what we're talking about. Hunting dolphins. Like, I mean, what is the next thing that we're going to organize? We're going to organize hunting parties to go hunt feral kittens and pug-nose, dogs, or weenie dogs. That's the thing. We'll get on horseback, right? And we'll turn loose about 50 weenie dogs, all right? And then we come up behind them and we shoot them with 44 Magnum, right? And then we make weenies out of them and we roast them. Yeah, I tell you what. I mean, that's what we're talking about. We're talking about out of control, like douchebag hunter assholes. Okay, they're actually Japanese in this case. So my redneck hyperbole is probably misplaced. But that's what I deal with on a regular basis, so that's what I know. And do what you know, you know. But anyway, and you wouldn't, I don't know, I wouldn't think that the Japanese would necessarily be that backwoods, so to speak. But they are, apparently. Not all of them, obviously. I'm not trying to say anything like that. But there is a group in Japan that thinks this is perfectly fine. Don't even see a problem with it. In fact, whenever it was raised that this might be an issue, that this was weird and that these people were doing something that was kind of horrible, they were like, well, really? Do you think you are entitled to have an opinion about this? Because it's our tradition. I'm like, well, your tradition is a bunch of crap. I mean, there are a lot of things that have been traditions throughout history that if we just go, oh, well, what are we going to do? You know, it's tradition. What are you going to do? Nothing we can do about it. It's tradition. I mean, come on. That's not an excuse. You know, oh, it's a tradition. We can't possibly end slavery. It's a tradition, you know? Are you really entitled to have an opinion about it? I mean, things change because they're wrong. Anyway, I hope that these Dolphins figure out some way to get revenge. I really do. I mean, they're docile, peaceful creatures that are not known to hurt people. But in this case, I hope they figure out a way to get it done. You know, maybe they communicate some way under the water and evolve in some way that we don't know about and are able to co-opt some other undersea, army that will then rise up against their Japanese. It sounded like a lot like Godzilla now that I'm thinking about it. Okay, so anyway, I'm not going to wish Godzilla upon Japan. That's horrible. But maybe like a small Godzilla, like a 6-7 foot Godzilla that's not going to eat like a whole village, but like 2 or 3 people, like 2 or 3 people max, and then goes back in the ocean, and then that's it. The Dolphins, put them down or something. But maybe that'll happen. Maybe the Dolphins will figure that out. Praying for you, Dolphins. So anyway, I'm kind of going to go on a rant there. Which, speaking of angry rants are popular now. If you watched the recent football game between San Francisco and the Seahawks, there was a little bit of a rant that took place at the end of that game. And if you saw the last play, you would know why. When there's like a lot of tension between two teams, I think that was kind of tame. We had been told, and it had been built up the whole time before this game actually happened, actually while the game was happening, that the teams hated each other. Not only are they division rivals, the coaches hate each other, and that's gone back for who knows how long. And a lot of the team mates for the different teams hate each other. So I think we should have expected some kind of fireworks. So I think we got off light. I think there could have been a lot more. I mean, I actually remember some other games during the season where there was a lot more, pushing and shoving and fights breaking out and things like that. So as far as that goes, I think we got off a little light there. But still, the popular thing now is to have an angry rant and go off on TV and say what you want or whatever. So that's in keeping with that. One last little thing I wanted to get to. This is just like an FYI. In case you have HBO Go. Apparently, the president of HBO doesn't care if you're sharing your HBO Go password with other people. They don't care. They're not actually policing that, and they actually don't have a problem with it. Like, in fact, they said they share theirs with other people. And the reason they don't care is because they actually look at it as a marketing tool. They don't mind you giving out your password, sharing it with someone else, and then they go and download the HBO shows that they want to watch. Because they said a lot of times it leads to subscribers, finding out that they want HBO and then just getting it. So they're actually okay with that. So don't feel like if you've ever shared your HBO Go or if you've ever shared from someone else, don't feel like you've done some horrible thing, because they don't care. They actually like that. So the more you know. All right, so I've rambled for a while here, and I don't even know what the quality of this is going to be or anything, so hopefully it's decent.